Can everyone see this?
Yes,
Just make
sir.
sure. I'm a bit of a Zoom noob. Yeah, so in sometime last year, I think, or probably like summer 2022, we were kind of like talking about having some sort of membership NFT for Def. This is when a lot of the like soulbound hype started to come around. We thought it might be interesting to do that for us. There's no real well, from my point of view, there's no real plans to do anything crazy with any of this yet, like locking the Discord down to people with NFTs and all that kind of stuff. But it's already coming in quite useful for things like Farcaster, where you can just follow anyone that holds a Def NFT, which is quite nice. But yeah, the NFT itself is pretty straightforward. It's just a standard ERC 721 NFT, but the way we've kind of modeled like the main membership contract is kind of to have certain parts of it be upgradable or modular. So it's soulbound in the sense that the transfer from function is just kind of like locked globally. There is an option to turn it back on if we ever wanted to open it up for trading in the future, people listing their NFTs. We basically just didn't want people putting stuff on OpenSea and then just random people kind of getting into Discord if we ever did gating and stuff later. So they're semi-soulbound in the sense that like you can't transfer them directly using the standard ERC 721 stuff, but there are escape patches in place. So there's the notion of kind of like approved contracts that can do certain things. So there's approved issuing contracts, so the contracts that can mint new NFTs. There's the same for revoking. So you could deploy a contract that revokes certain memberships and that just burns the NFT. And then the same for transferring is kind of like a social recovery thing initially, but we could also open that up to maybe people want to delegate their membership to a different wallet. So you can kind of transfer it back and forth between your hot wallets to get on certain allow lists or whatever it is. And all of these are upgradable and you can have many in operation at once. So when I deployed the contract, initially I had a claimable invites contract deployed, which basically just uses like a Merkle tree. And that was just taken from a Google Sheet, uploaded to Lanyard, and then anyone that was in that route could just claim an NFT. And I also deployed an invite contract as well. It's pretty basic, but basically allows you to put in an address, someone else's address. They will get an invite and then they can claim it, and that essentially mints the token. The invites don't expire. There is a cooldown on the invites. It's currently set to 0, so you can just invite as many as you want in quick succession. But if we wanted to slow down the release of these, yeah, we can change cooldowns and stuff. In terms of burning stuff, revoking memberships, if there's bad actors or like people, end up inviting their own other wallets, so they end up with multiple NFTs, there is like a revoking contract deployed. It's uses like a very basic governance thing, like a voting mechanism, but yeah, you can kind of vote to burn an NFT if you're a member. The reason why there's also like a deny list as well. So if someone was actually kicked out for whatever reason, you can kind of prevent that address from ever minting an NFT again. But I hope we don't really have to use that. There's also upgradable metadata contracts. So there's like a base one that we can update for every token. Currently, the metadata is like on chain. So the title, description, attributes, all that kind of stuff is all on chain. The image isn't, but again, this can be upgraded later. There's also the option to override the metadata contract for your own token. So say you wanted to, if you know how to write Solidity and you want to deploy your own rendering contract, you can do that. And then just override your specific token. What's cool with that is you can kind of imagine teams forming or little factions forming where like, maybe the purple team deploy, or anyone that has like the purple role in Discord maybe deploys like a purple contract, and that does some stuff. Change the token names, all that kind of thing. And you could kind of have these factions just using different contract addresses, which is quite interesting. Yeah, I also made like a small front end. It's like super basic for now, but it basically lets you like connect a wallet. If you're in Def, you'll be able to send an invite to someone. If you're not in Def, like if I just pick a different address, like this, there'll be an option to claim an invite if I have one available. This will basically just mint me an NFT to this address. There's also a list of all the people that currently hold a Def membership token, and then like the block number that they joined. That also links to like the Ethereum transaction where they minted it, which is quite nice. And there's also like a counter based on invites. So whoever's invited the most, you'll see kind of here at the moment. It's me, and then Snuts, and then Yoshi as well. So like, yeah, very basic website for now. There's a couple of links to like OpenSea and the actual contracts on Etherscan and stuff. If people want to deploy other contracts, like maybe the registry kind of contract for sending memberships between your own wallets that you delegate, let me know. It's currently owned by a separate account. I've got like a separate wallet set up that deployed it. And I've made all the mods in Def admins of that contract, so they can also add new contracts, add and remove new contracts. Eventually we'll get like a multi-sig set up, so that will then be the owner and do all the admin stuff. But yeah, all the contracts also on GitHub. The whole repo is on GitHub actually. I don't know if this is public. It says public, but I don't know if everyone can see it. But there's definitely friends / definitely members. I'll put that in the Malzoni thing if people want to contribute, or yeah, let me know. Yeah, I think that's it. Really, it's pretty basic. There's a whole bunch of stuff in like the actual contracts if people want to read through. I've tried to document a bunch of stuff as best I can. So it should make like working in the repo a bit easier as well. But yeah, that's it really. If anyone's got any specific questions, let me know.
You're the most humble person I've ever met in my life. Everyone in chat is like, this is way beyond basic. A SAM basic front end is better than professional startups. Website
I mean,
looks great.
It's not. It's okay.
It's okay. Oh my
There's
God.
not a lot. There's not a lot on there, right? It's just like
I cannot wait to see your like, this was a lot of work for me. If this is
I mean,
just
a lot
okay.
of. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of this was just taken from my like fork of Frolics Web3 starter thing that has like all my own branded styles and fonts and shit in it. So it was a little bit easier. But yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you throw a Snuts glitch animation in there and you've got some flavor. But
yeah,
no, this is awesome. It is so cool to see this like come to life. Just I know everybody else is as excited about this as I am too, but it just, we've been talking about it for so long, and then just shipping the token, I salute you. And you'll be the first reimbursement from our multi-sig. Compliments of Davis Shaver, who was so kind to fund hopefully enough to cover this token deployment at the very least. But
yeah, I don't think it was. I think I waited for gas to be quite low, but
a true
yeah.
legend. Legend.
Yeah, I had time basically between Christmas and starting work again. So I was like, I just need to get this thing out because it's just been set. The contracts have basically not changed since like, I don't know, October time. They've just kind of been sat there waiting. Also, there's like a whole bunch of tests if people care or are into that stuff. There's like all the Foundry stuff if people want to poke around. But yeah, let me know. There's the Def memberships channel in Discord. Also, like, I'm not going to be updating the Merkle root stuff anymore. I'm just kind of relying on people doing invites for now. But if anyone wants to make a new contract for like bulk inviting and all that kind of stuff, just let me know. I'll be able to help out.
That's awesome. We've got 5 more minutes. Any questions for most valuable Def member, Sam King?
I was curious with these other contracts that you plugged in, was there any sort of learnings or cool takeaways from like how you did this composability and pluggability, like diamond pattern, something custom? Just curious about that.
Yeah, so I've kind of done this in a bunch of different projects and it's worked out quite well. You basically, it's similar to diamond pattern. I did have a branch on this repo for moving it to like the diamond standard with all the proper events and everything. But I wasn't too sure how deploying it was going to work, and I just kind of wanted to get the thing done. Yeah, basically the basic gist of it is that there's kind of like mappings of addresses to like an approved state, basically. And then certain functions can only be called by a contract that's within that. So for example, like the definitely invites is a contract that gets deployed on its own, and then it gets added to this allowed membership issuing contract. So then it can call the the whole issuing flow. So you can see here, like only member issuing contract, that basically prevents anyone from just minting their own NFT. And only an admin can add these contracts. So it kind of prevents anyone from adding their own contract that can mint 1 million tokens or whatever. But yeah.
Cool.
I think this is probably like the easiest way to like work with modular stuff that doesn't have too much overhead. It does mean that you're kind of limited now to the functions that exist in the main contract. So we can't really do anything other than issuing, revoking, and transferring. But I think for now it's probably fine. There's probably a whole bunch of interesting stuff you can do with regards to like transferring things as well. So yeah, sort of locked, but sort of modular.
I have
upgradable.
I have a question, Sam. So what is your, do you have a wish list of things you'd love to see happen with these tokens?
I think the rendering stuff would be interesting, like people can do, because it's all on chain. And there's also this concept of kind of like an insight score, a bit like OKPC, corruptions, that kind of thing. Basically, whenever you mint an NFT, you get like, we store the block number that you joined at, the block number that you minted at per account. So like each NFT, basically, you can look it up by the ID, has this like block number. So you can do some interesting stuff there with the renderers, like, I don't know, changing images based on that block number, giving certain perks to certain people based on block numbers, that sort of thing. I really like the idea of like, because we have the color roles in Def, and you pick teams using the renderer to do something like that. Be interesting. You could deploy a renderer that's like entirely off chain and uses some API, like the Discord API, to do some cool stuff for the token data. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that you could do, really. I definitely think something around like the transferring and inviting or issuing type contracts could be cool. I'm trying to think, there was a good idea that came up the other day, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll post it in the chat if I remember it, but yeah, I don't really have like one thing that I would love people to do, but yeah.
Oh, I have one that's been on my list forever. I'm gonna make a Def only Gorley faucet.
Yeah, I could totally do that.
Provide some utility.
We're